Greetings, friends. My name is Brad Weeks, and I'm a medical doctor. So I'm going to share with you some very simple principles of health, which will help you protect yourself and your loved ones during this hysteria, this time of fear and preparation as regards a viral infection called COVID-19. Now, just a couple days ago, a very excellent article was published in The Lancet, which was entitled COVID-19, Consider Cytokine Storm Syndromes and Immunosuppression. This is by a Dr. Mehta, published in The Lancet, and it's very important to reference. So I've put up a link at my blog, which is my last name, Weeks, and then MD. So it's WEEKSMD.com. And the blog offers this post, which is entitled COVID-19 Hyperinflammation. And the concept I want to get across to you is that while there are very many good people giving you good information on the internet about taking this remedy and that remedy, it can be very confusing because we have to think in terms of principles of health. And what will prevent you from getting a serious infection and what will help you recover if you have a serious infection is anything which minimizes your inflammation. Now, inflammation drives all chronic illnesses. We know cancer is spread by inflammation. We know that diabetes and heart disease are primarily driven by inflammation. Asthma, autism, all psychiatric ailments are made worse by inflammation, chronic low-grade inflammation. We also know that acute inflammation can be very helpful. It's how we kill parasites and how we upregulate our immune process. So I'm not a critic of acute, short-term, righteous indignation in the form of acute inflammation. I'm very concerned with people living in a chronic, inflamed state. Now, everyone's going to look for medications and look for a magic pill and maybe even a vaccination. I'm very skeptical of those being helpful because I think in terms of health principles. And I want to read a couple of quotations from this article in The Lancet from March 12th. The author says, patients with severe COVID-19 will have a cytokine storm syndrome. Now, what is a cytokine storm? It's basically a hyperinflammatory process. He goes on to say that it's the hyperinflammatory syndrome, which is characterized by fulminant and fatal multi-organ failure. And he also says all patients with severe COVID-19 should be screened for hyperinflammation. And lastly, he ends by saying, mortality might be due to virally driven hyperinflammation. So please, forget everything everyone has told you about anything and just focus on reducing your inflammation. How can we do that? Well, indeed, if you remember the old acronym, remember to KISS, remember to keep it simple, silly. All you need to do is to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. What is that? Well, first of all, what are the inflammatory foods? That's simple. Alcohol, sugar, dairy, wheat, a lot of the processed foods with substances we can't really metabolize make us have a chronic inflammation. So getting rid of inflammatory foods is essential. And what does that leave? That leaves good quality water. Make sure you have plenty of good quality water. Avoid chloride and fluoride. They are inflammatory. You want to have good quality water. You do not want to be drinking milk. You want to be drinking juices if they're cut with water, not too much sugar. Sugar is inflammatory. Smoking cigarettes are inflammatory. So an anti-inflammatory diet is described at weeksmd.com, and you can look at that. But essentially, think about green leafy vegetables. Think about natural foods, and in particular, there's kind of a magic bullet here for the COVID-19, and that's the anti-inflammatory seeds. Now, why would we give people anti-inflammatory seeds? 3 important reasons. Number 1, did you know that seeds naturally bioaccumulate? They gather, they store 20 to 30 times more nutrients compared to the flesh of the fruit or vegetable in which the seed grew. Seeds are a treasure chest of nutrition, and you need to be well nourished to be able to fuel all the mechanisms which will save your life, which are anti-inflammatory mechanisms. You need all those nutrients like selenium, zinc, chromium, vitamin A, the vitamin Bs. The seeds have everything in them. That's what a seed is. It's a little package filled with everything the plant needs to profile it into the future. So eating the seeds gives you nutrient density, and you can select different seeds. One of the products we work with has 3 of the most powerful anti-inflammatory seeds. That's the black cumin seed, the raspberry seed, and the Chardonnay grape seed. These are the 3 most powerful anti-inflammatory seeds. So by drinking this product, you get anti-inflammation and nutrient density. And you also get the omega-6 benefits. Remember, most of the omega-6 you hear about are the junky vegetable oils, the hydrogenated, rancid vegetable oils that you deep fry in, or you preserve different baked goods. I'm not talking about those omega-6s. I'm talking about the unadulterated seed oils, which have omega-6, which does something which is essential to offset acute respiratory distress syndrome, or ARDS, the inflammation which kills people through the lungs being inflamed. And what that is a very powerful property of the unadulterated omega-6 seed oils, which is that they actively transport oxygen into the cells. Just the way insulin actively transports glucose into the cells, omega-6 seed oils actively transport oxygen into the cells. They enhance cell membranes. They protect against inflammation. So whoever shared this video with you, get back to that person and get the data on the seed nutrition. Remember, eating the seed is the revolution in nutrition. It's going to help everybody be optimally nourished and put out the inflammation. Please, KISS, keep it simple, silly. Just eat the anti-inflammatory diet, get rid of the inflammatory foods, and create an attitude of cooperation, collaboration, because if you're angry and scared, that's inflammatory also. My name is Brad Weeks. A lot of what I think is important I post at weeksmd.com, but get back to the person who got you this video and learn everything you can about seed nutrition.